Is it just me, or does hearing the rumble of a Subaru down the street always catch your attention? I bought my 2006 STI a little over a year ago, and the ownership has not been what I would expect it to be. This is my 2006 STI. I got it a little over a year and a half ago. While I love this car so much, the ownership of the past year and a half has not been what I expected it to be. For starters, I found the listing on Facebook. It was a pretty good price for the mileage. I contacted the owner. He's a very nice guy. We talked about it for the next couple of days. He was willing to have me come down all the way from Colorado to visit the car, see how it is, check out the condition and everything that it was in. After flying all the way to California, we met up with the guy. He was a very nice guy. He was even willing to get the car detailed, oil changed, all the maintenance done on the car to make sure it was safe to that drive home to Colorado. If you're interested in watching the video of me driving to California and picking up the car, make sure you check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. We went for a test drive in the car to make sure everything was okay. The car drove great. I was in love with it from the start. It's so funny, my mom is sitting in the passenger seat and she's worried about all these little things. Meanwhile, I'm there just completely focused on the fact that I'm driving the car that I've always dreamt of driving. We paid the guy up front. We didn't lowball him. We didn't do anything like that. We knew what we were getting into. The car was already a good price, and for everything he had already done for us, the least we could do is not try to lowball him and, you know, waste his time. The drive home was pretty smooth. It was about a 20-hour drive home. It was brutal, but the car did just fine. At one point halfway through, I was actually worried that the clutch was going out. I believe that was just me not getting used to the clutch. The clutch is actually a stage 2 South Bend clutch. Now it is kind of aggressive. It's not super bad. It is daily drivable, but it can be hard to get into gear from time to time. After arriving home in Colorado, the car sat for a little bit. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do with the car. Did I wanted to keep it a nice daily? Did I want to turn it into something that I could really enjoy and have fun with? I spent that summer working a lot, figuring out what I wanted to do with the car, driving it, enjoying it, and then finally I started to pick up some steam and figure out what I wanted to do with it. Now I am in school, so it has been difficult. I haven't spent a ton of time with the car. I'll spend a summer and then the breaks with it. In the meantime, it actually just sits at home in the garage, babied, and no snow, no weather gets on the paint, make sure it stays safe. But as I have owned it, I have done a few modifications to it. For starters, I did a Tomei exhaust. The Tomei catback has been the biggest difference that I've made so far to the car. It has made the car sound so much better. Now when I got this car, it was completely stock with the exception of the stage 2 South Bend clutch. Other than that, the car was completely stock, and I knew immediately it needed an exhaust. And I immediately threw it on. My girlfriend helped with it. My mom was there to help as well. It was one of the best moments of owning the car, putting the exhaust on, hearing the rumble of it, hearing the pops and backfires. Really, just nothing beats it. Next, the modification I did was Cartboy short throw shifter. Now, I have never done a short throw shifter on any of my cars before. This has been another huge difference that has really made the car come alive and just feel more sporty and just feel much more aggressive. The shifts are super notchy. It took me about an hour or two to do. We did run into some complications. The only hard part about the short throw shifter install is the reverse cable. Now with the 5-speed, you don't have to worry about this because there is no interlocking cable like there is with the 6-speed. So with the 6-speed, there's a pin that goes through a little hole that holds this cable in. Now what you have to do is you have to get underneath the car and push this little bracket forward to push the pin up. Now, it's definitely something you couldn't do by yourself. Luckily, I had my girlfriend here with me. That alone took about 45 minutes. Getting that done, that was really nice. I finally went on a test drive to test out how it felt. You know, actually at first it kind of felt relatively the same, but as I started driving it more, I started figuring out how there really is quite a bit of a difference. Next was a doozy. I wanted more turbo noise out of the engine. The turbo itself is really quiet, especially with the loud Tomei in the back. You really don't hear it a whole lot. I wanted more turbo noise, but I didn't want to get an intake and then have to do the Cobb access port, all this, get it tuned. I didn't really want to mess with that. It's a lot of money as well. I looked up and I did a lot of research and found out that a turbo inlet doesn't need a tune for it. And I figured, you know, okay, that'll help more air get through the engine. It shouldn't mess with airflow ratios, nothing like that. I was hoping it would maybe give a little bit more turbo noise. Now, while it does give more turbo noise, it does feel as if it spools up a little bit quicker. I spent roughly 2 to 3 weeks just trying to get this turbo inlet installed. It was a complete pain. Unfortunately, I didn't film any of it. I got to a point where I was done with filming. I just wanted to get this thing installed. I also went on a trip to Italy in the middle of it, so I came back to a broken Subaru, immediately got to fixing it. It took me about 2 or 3 weeks. We finally got it in. Luckily, my brother, who is not an experienced worker on cars, but somehow he is fantastic at working on cars, he was able to just muscle it through all the little knobs and pieces that you have to connect. Those were such a pain. Definitely the hardest thing I've done on a car, and it was such a pain on this thing. Now, can I say, was it worth it? Probably not, but it is cool knowing that something that was so difficult as that was, we got it done, and you know, I didn't just give up and go back to the stock one. It is nice knowing that we eventually did it. Next, a simple thing, we installed a white cob shift knob. Now the cob shift knob is classic. I had a black cob shift knob on my 2002 WRX. I loved it, I loved the feel of it. I had a buddy tell me, you know, go with something else, get something different, but I love the cob shift knob. It's always felt really good to me. I think it feels great. It's heavier than the stock one. It's not super heavy and super weighted, but it is heavier than the stock one, so it goes into gear much nicer. The cob shift knob, the weight of it mixed with the Cartboy short throw shifter is phenomenal. The way it goes into gear feels fantastic. You know, this Subaru has 140,000 miles on it, and the transmission still feels like it's brand new. So with Christmas coming up, there's definitely more content to be made. There should be more parts to come. I do have shifter bushings that came with the Cartboy short throw shifter. They are waiting at home for me. I've been hesitant to install them. I tried one day and I found out it was gonna be a lot more difficult than I thought. So I just put everything back together. So I do have those waiting for me. This car is going to be something that I want all of you guys to enjoy. I want you to enjoy it with me. I plan to make this a fun car to drive. I don't want to go too crazy with it, with all the things you see on the internet, with Subarus blowing up, all this. I don't want to push it too far, but I do want to enjoy the car and make it something special to me. So my next plans, for all of you guys who are wondering, I do want to do a lot more suspension work. The car is really stiff, it needs coilovers. Those are soon to come. I just need to spend the money and get a good pair. There's a lot more content to come. I will be graduating from college this spring. I will be getting my bachelor's in business administration and my minor in marketing, while also being a full-time athlete. So once that is done, I will have so much more time to focus on filming car videos. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this little 1-year ownership of the car. The car actually does have a check engine light at the moment, as maybe some of you guys have seen in my last video. That is just a little evap leak. I do need to get it fixed. I haven't had much time. I will be getting it fixed this break. Once that's gone, everything else has been totally fine. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoy more of this process, more of this content to come. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time.